Good day and thank you for joining us today. Our guest at CivilNet is Simon Wilkinson. Simon, thank you for joining us. And I read about you and tried to discover more about you before speaking with you. And you're very often represented as a transmedia storyteller. Could you tell us more about that?
All that really means is that the stories that I'm telling don't happen just on one platform. They're never just a film or a theatre show or a piece of music. They're always all of these things combined. And the shows are often need you to engage for a prolonged period of time.
And you're representing The Cube, one of your works here in Armenia, and it's a story that happened in 1950s. People are disappearing. And why did you choose that story, and how does it work into such a modern storytelling culture?
This is a story that I first heard about when I was 13. My grandfather bought me a magazine called Mysteries of the World. It was one of those magazines that was full of strange, unexplained stories. I really loved this book when I was a kid. And I used to read it in bed, you know, under the covers with my torch like this. And I had this specific idea when I was 13 that if I could make my dreams more exciting by reading something spooky or whatever, then in some way I was training myself for a life that was more interesting and exciting. And this particular story was the one that I would read the most. It was a story about how 8 college kids and their tutor went on a school trip and they disappeared and they were never found again. And all that was ever found of them were 8 letters that they left behind for their parents.
This is the story of something very strange that happened in 1959 in America.
The atmosphere from the off was very eerie.
Really scary. And even doing something virtually, it feels spooky. And also, I suppose, because I know it is a true story.
You're going to want to know more.
This story never left my brain. It was always interesting to me. But 3 years ago, I got a commission in Australia for a very big venue to make a piece of work. And when you're an artist, the best commissions are the ones where they don't give you any guidelines. They just say, here's some money, go and do something. And so it was my chance to first tell this story. That show was called Beyond the Bright Black Edge of Nowhere. It was a stage show, but it was, because I'm a transmedia artist, it also happens online, and it happens in a gallery exhibition, and it also happens in many other ways. And I then did a second show, which was The Cube, which is in virtual reality. These 2 shows work together. In fact, there's 5 shows that work together in this same world. And more importantly for me, the subtext of this piece, there's something in this story. It's about 1959 and it's about some people disappearing. And this was a period of history where other things were disappearing. One of the things that disappeared around that time, especially maybe 20 years later, was a very distinct definition of what reality is.
Does this explain your choice of tools?
It does explain my choice of tools.
And I wanted to ask you about, some people have been able to see your installation, let's say, The Cube here. And was the reaction different here?
It wasn't different, it was the same. Because actually, people are people wherever they are, and the questions that we have about the world, particularly now because we live in a very globalized world, maybe through a different lens in different countries and so on, but really the issues are the same. So we have a book that people can write in after they come out of the show, and I've been reading them as they go, and I have many other comments from other countries, from Canada, from the Netherlands and so on, places that it's been, Serbia, and the response is similar. And importantly, I think the point, we talked about transmedia storytelling. It used to be that the artist was a person who made something and you went and worshipped it at a gallery like they were some sort of special person. This is a really old-fashioned idea. When you make something like The Cube or Beyond the Bright Black Edge of Nowhere, what I want is for them to engage with it and start a conversation, and I will change my mind on the basis of things people say, and the things they say will affect what my next piece of work will be. It's not the 1970s anymore.
Yes, it's the modern definition of the artist.
Yeah.
Simon, thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
This was very interesting, and good luck later tonight at
Thank you.
Sumo, and thank you to the viewers for joining us.